Geography and countries in Southeast Asia. If you look at this map, Southeast Asia is a region that should be unstable because it has territorial dispute, different political system, and competition between major powers like US and China. However, the region is relatively peaceful even without a strong military alliance like NATO. The situation is often called security without war, where stability is maintained without formal defense cooperation. Southeast Asia is located between the Indian and Pacific Ocean and includes important trade routes like the Strait of Malacca and the South China Sea. Most countries in the region are members of Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which play an important role in maintaining regional stability.
Next one is the main security concern in Southeast Asia. Although Southeast Asia is relatively stable, the region still faces several security challenges. One of them is the main issue is the South China Sea dispute. The conflict involves countries such as Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and China. They have overlapping territorial claims in the area, which is important because it contains natural resources and major international shipping routes. In addition, some countries in the region experience internal security problems. For example, Myanmar has faced political instability since the military coup in 2021. There are also concerns about terrorism in countries like Indonesia and Philippines. Southeast Asia is also affected by the rivalry between major powers, especially the United States and China, which both seek influence in the region. Despite these challenges, conflicts in Southeast Asia rarely escalate into open war between countries.
Internal and external actors. Security in Southeast Asia is influenced by both internal and external actors. The internal actors are the Southeast Asia countries, especially ASEAN members, who try to maintain stability through regional cooperation. They understand that conflict in the region would harm their economy and political stability. External actors include major powers such as US, China, Japan, India, and Australia and Russia. These countries are interested in Southeast Asia because it is important trade route has a very strategic location. The rivalry between the US and China can increase tension, so ASEAN countries try to keep a balance and avoid taking sides. This balance helps prevent conflict and keeps the region stable. Because of the interaction between many actors with different interests, security in Southeast Asia is complex, but through cooperation and balance of power, the region has been able to stay stable without major war, which explains the idea of security without war.
Current security engagement. Today, Southeast Asia manages its regional security mainly through cooperation under the Association of South Asia, Asian Nations or ASEAN, rather than forming a strict military alliance. ASEAN focuses on dialogue, diplomacy, and confidence building among its member states. One of the key security platforms is the ASEAN Regional Forum, which brings together ASEAN members and major powers such as the United States, China, Japan, and Russia to discuss regional security issues and prevent conflict through dialogue. Another important mechanism is the ASEAN Defense Minister Meeting and expanded format, the ASEAN Defense Minister Meeting Plus. This forum allows defense ministers from ASEAN and partner countries to cooperate in areas such as maritime security, counterterrorism, disaster relief, and peacekeeping. ASEAN also promotes the principle of peaceful conflict resolution and respect for sovereignty. This approach, often referred to as the ASEAN Way, which emphasizes consensus, non-interference, and gradual cooperation. Through this arrangement, ASEAN attempts to maintain regional stability while managing the influence of major powers in Southeast Asia.
So, alright, now let's look at which countries are involved in Southeast Asia security cooperation. Today, all 11 countries in Southeast Asia are members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which we know is ASEAN, including the newest member, Timor-Leste, which officially joined in 2025 after more than a decade of negotiations. Through ASEAN, these countries cooperate to maintain regional stability, political dialogue, and security coordination. However, even though all Southeast Asian countries are members, their participation is not always the same. For example, after the military coup in 2021, Myanmar faced restrictions in some high-level ASEAN meetings because of the ongoing political crisis. Myanmar military leadership has sometimes been excluded from important discussion. This shows that domestic political situation can affect how countries participate in regional cooperation. At the same time, security in Southeast Asia is not only shaped by ASEAN members. So, major powers like the United States and China are not part of ASEAN, but they still influence the region. They participate in security discussion through forums such as the ASEAN Defense Minister Meeting Plus. So, even though ASEAN is the center of cooperation, external powers still play an important role in shaping regional security.
Next one is the results or the outcomes. Regional security cooperation in Southeast Asia has produced several important results. Since the establishment of ASEAN in 1967, there has been no major war between its member states. Most conflicts are managed through the dialogue, negotiations, and diplomacy. This stability has also supported economic growth in the region because the region is relatively peaceful and the trade investment have increased significantly. In addition, regional forums such as the ASEAN Regional Forum and the ADMM Plus help build trust among countries and encourage cooperation on security issues. Overall, ASEAN helps maintain security stability in Southeast Asia and prevents conflicts from turning into large-scale wars.
So, even though Southeast Asia has remained relatively peaceful, the region still faces several important challenges. One of the biggest challenges is growing rivalry between the United States and China. Both countries want stronger influence in the region, which sometimes puts ASEAN members in difficult position. Another challenge comes from ASEAN principle of non-interference, meaning that countries avoid interfering in each other's domestic affairs. While this helps maintain respect and sovereignty, it can also make ASEAN less effective in responding to internal crises. For example, the political situation in Myanmar has been difficult for ASEAN to resolve. There is also the territorial dispute in South China Sea, where several countries in Southeast Asia have overlapping claims with China. This area is important because it contains natural resources and major global shipping routes. Finally, ASEAN does not have a collective military alliance like North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or as we know, NATO. Because of this, the region mainly relies on diplomacy, dialogue, and cooperation to manage tensions. So, while Southeast Asia has avoided major wars, its stability is often described as peaceful but still fragile.
So, for the conclusion, regional security in Southeast Asia is shaped by cooperation through ASEAN and its related institutions. ASEAN has created several platforms for dialogue and defense cooperation that help maintain stability and reduce the risk of the conflict in the region. Although ASEAN doesn't function as a military alliance, its emphasis on diplomacy, consensus, and peaceful engagement has allowed member states manage security challenges collectively. However, the region still faces ongoing challenges such as the territorial dispute, great power competition, and non-traditional security threats. Therefore, strengthening ASEAN cooperation and maintaining inclusive security arrangements will remain essential for ensuring long-term peace and stability in Southeast Asia.